Hello, hello, hello. Let me see. Let me make sure that I am live for real because sometimes y'all know this thing tell me I'm live. The people be like, she not live. Okay, so let me. Looks like I'm live, so okay. All right. Okay. Come on in to the peoples. Come on in. You know that I don't do the whole wait for a long time, so you have until I get this thing figured out to make sure that it's hitting both pages because you know how this thing likes to behave, and I have no time for this behavior. Okay, right? Let's see. Okay. All right, I think I'm live. If you can hear me, hey, Auntie Perry. If you can hear me, can you like put a thumbs up in the chat or something? I want to make sure you all can hear me. I don't want to get too far into it and then you all be like, oh my God, I don't know what you're talking about type of thing. So if you can hear me, somebody bang me with a thumbs up. That would be great. Okay, it looks like it is working. Looks like I'm live. And I need to try to get it over here on this one. Okay, it is 7:01. You guys know how I am. So housekeeping always is first. First housekeeping for this week is I am on GG duty. I have tried to occupy the little one with the Spider-Man. It seems to be working right now in this moment. So in the off chance that you hear the Spider-Man or the little man, I'm just gonna need you to ignore that thing and not worry about it. Okay? Okay. All right. So moving on, as we have been talking about for the last few weeks, we are coming up on the 7-year anniversary of the original release of the Bondage book. You know, this book is very near and dear to my heart. You all have made it even more special for me than I thought that it could be. And so I am super excited for this anniversary edition that we are putting out. It is a hard copy. I have never done a hard copy before, so I'm super excited about that. And there is now a foreword in the book. Look at that, when your girl got somebody that is willing to do a foreword for her in the book. You can't tell me. I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like I've arrived. So I'm so excited about that. We made a couple other little updates and changes. And so if you haven't already gotten your book, just wait until we put out the new anniversary edition. And if you already have your book, you want to grab this anniversary edition anyway, because your level of support is greatly needed and appreciated. And so I am super duper excited for the things that we have planned for you all for what's coming up. I'm super duper excited about that. Okay, so don't forget we're doing these lives every week leading up unto the release of the anniversary edition. It may be a week I have to do maybe two just to kind of catch it up, but we'll see how that works. I'll talk to the team and see how they want to handle that, if we're going to do a two or if we're just going to delay it by a week or so. We shall see. Okay, we shall see. And so this is week 3. Now you know that we are going according to the acronym, yes? And so this is week 3, and week 3 is neglect. So we're talking about navigating neglect this week. We talked about bondage in week 1. We talked about offense in week 2. And so this week we are talking about neglect. Now, neglect is a little bit of funny business, right? And I want to talk to you about neglect from more than one angle. Oftentimes when you hear the word neglect, right? You think about somebody who has neglected you. You think about the ways that you've been neglected. Maybe it was your parents, maybe it was friends, maybe it was family. But you think about the ways that you've been neglected, right? The ways that you've been looked past or looked over. And a lot of times you have to remember betrayal, offense, neglect, all of these emotions that we deal with, they all run together. Make sense? And so neglect is often a byproduct of offense or a byproduct of betrayal, right? Or some of the other ones. But neglect is also a little bit of a funny business. And I'll tell you why. Because with neglect, it can be people who've neglected you. But I also want to talk about the way that we neglect ourselves, right? So let's first, y'all know how I am. Let's first look at a running definition of neglect. And please, if somebody's on there, let me know that you can hear me. I don't want to keep going. If I need to start over, that's great. I can before I get going. But if you can hear me, shoot a thumbs up or just type you can hear me in the chat. That'd be great. But let's look at a working definition of neglect real quick, right? So it says neglect is the failure to give necessary attention, care, or consideration to oneself, others, or responsibilities, resulting in harm, deterioration, or unmet needs, whether physical, emotional, spiritual, or relational. Okay, I'm gonna read that one more time because I need you to get that thing. Thank you so much, Sissy. I need you to get that thing. The failure to give necessary attention, care, or consideration to oneself, others, or responsibilities that results in harm, deterioration, or unmet needs, whether these needs are physical, emotional, spiritual, or relational. Okay, neglect can be intentional or unintentional, right? And it can manifest in different ways. We talked about just now self-neglect. Often when we think about neglect, we think about the ways that other people have neglected us, right? It's so easy to think about your parent who didn't show up for you, or your sibling who didn't take care of you, right? Or your husband who did not meet your needs. It's really easy to think about neglect in those ways, but I want you to begin to slightly alter your perspective and think about the ways in which you have and are actively neglecting yourself. Self-neglect, that's ignoring your personal health, your personal well-being, or your own personal emotional needs. That's heavy, Queen. I know it is, but I want you to reflect on that thing. Relational neglect, that's failing to nurture or care for important relationships, whether it's someone who failed to care for you or the other way around. Spiritual neglect, come on here, neglecting one's faith, prayer life, or relationship with God. I know I'm stepping on some toes right now because I know we fall into this category of spiritually neglecting ourselves and our relationship with God. Oh, come on here. Parental neglect, that's often the one that we go to first in our minds. Failing to provide for a child's basic emotional, physical, or psychological needs, right? So neglect often leads to long-term consequences, emotional pain, insecurity, broken relationships, or spiritual emphasis. Okay, so now we have this running definition of neglect, and I want you to think about which ways neglect has shown up in your life. Self-neglect, relational neglect, spiritual neglect, parental neglect. Which way has neglect shown up in your life? I can pretty much guarantee you that it's not just one of these, but it's several, if not all of these ways that neglect has shown up in your life. Okay, Queen, what do we do? Well, y'all know what we do. We always have to take it to the scriptures because this is not Queen talking. Come on here. This is Queen helping you to understand the ways that some of these physical things have gotten in the way of your divine destiny. Yes. And so we have to be able to name a thing. You know, if you've had a class with me, that we talk about naming your pain, we talk about having your mirror moment. So let's talk about it from the perspective of neglect, right? And the ways that we've neglected ourselves, others, and our relationships. Yes. So come on, let's go on in here. Proverbs 32, I'm sorry, I'm being real dyslexic today. Proverbs 13 and 12. It talks about neglecting emotional and spiritual needs. This is a verse that I think we've heard all the time, but I don't know if we put it into the true perspective that it could. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. So many of us are sitting in these spaces with sick hearts. Why? Because so many of our hopes and so many of our dreams we've given up on. We've neglected them. Other people told us that we couldn't have them. There is an impact right here of neglecting your emotional needs. When you experience neglect, whether it's from others or from yourself, it can lead to emotional distress and spiritual sickness, right? So we have all of these dreams. Listen, I had all of these dreams. Let me speak for me. I had all of these dreams as a little girl. I was going to be a singer. I was going to be a wife. I was going to be a mother. I was going to have the house with the picket fence and the dog. And I never wanted to be a millionaire, but I just wanted people to know my name. I wanted to be able to sing happiness into the lives of others. That was like this whole big deal for me, right? Well, I never got famous from singing. But what you want to know is funny. I posted a thing today that said, hey, if you knew me in school, tell me what you remember about me. And almost everybody talked about me singing, right? And so in a space where I had neglected to understand the impact that I had just because maybe the world does not know my name, right? And so that was a hope deferred for me. I kept saying, listen, I have to give the singing up. I have to be done with the singing. And everybody's like, girl, no, what are you talking about? Well, it was a hope deferred for me. It made my heart sick that it didn't go the way that I thought that it would. And then here comes all of these people telling me the impact that I had on them from singing as a teenager in middle school and high school. That's big. It's big, it's big, it's big. So we also cannot neglect to see the ways in which God is using us in our lives, right? And using us for his purpose. Come on here. Now, often we carry the pain of neglect, especially from childhood issues, childhood abuses, childhood traumas. Y'all know trauma is my jam. And then we get triggered as adults in ways that we don't even understand why or how we got triggered. And it's from carrying the pain of neglect. Hebrews 12 and 15 says, see to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. That no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. Listen, when we allow that neglect to fester, when we carry that pain of neglect, right, it becomes a festering wound that causes trouble and it defiles many. Well, how does it defile many? Because you bleed on others. You bleed on others based on the bleeding that you're doing inside. Why? Because you're carrying that pain. You feel as though you've been neglected, and because you've been neglected, there's a part of yourself that you keep closed off. There's a part of yourself that you don't allow anyone to get to. There's a part of yourself that still cries at night. There's still tears on your pillow. There's still pain. You can watch a certain movie and it'll hit you in a spot. You can hear a certain song and it'll hit you in a place. You can hear a story about what somebody else is going through and it immediately takes you back to your place of pain. Listen, You don't want to carry the pain of neglect or betrayal or offense or any of them, right? You don't want to carry that pain because it festers and it becomes a wound. It causes trouble and it defiles many. Well, how can it defile many? I just kind of say to myself, well, that's not true, because there are people who are assigned to your life, your children, your spouse, your family, your co-workers, people, your church members. People that you come across are now affected by the pain that you're carrying, and you don't even understand it. You don't even see it. It is defiling many when we carry around the pain of neglect. Come on here. Come on. 1 Timothy 4. It says, do not neglect your gift. Come on here. Now we're coming on over into this spiritual neglect. Do not neglect your gift, which was given you through prophecy when the body of elders laid their hands on you. Be diligent in these matters. Give yourself wholly to them so that everyone may see your progress. Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers. Come on, listen. Now, there are many of us who know that we hold anointings. We are gifted. God has called us to a thing. He has called us to a people. Some of you say, well, I don't know what God wants from me. Whatever that passion is, whatever that thing that burns you, whatever that thing that you can talk about no matter who's around, that thing that keeps you up at night, that dream that drives you, that is what God is calling you to. That is who God is calling you to. And when you neglect that, listen, don't be me. I was hard-headed, rebellious, and I ran in the opposite direction for as long as I could. Listen, I ripped up every pair of tennis shoes I could find, because what I wasn't going to do, Lord, is this, right? Hard-headed, girl, be hard-headed, because then he just pick you up and plop you down, and there's nothing you can do about it. Do not neglect your gift. Why? Because it's not for you. And so when you're not in position and operating in that gift, then the blood of those who would have been healed through your hands is now on your head. Because you weren't in position and they fell off the cliff. Because you weren't in position, and when the enemy shot the dart, it hit them. Because you weren't in position, and when God gave a word for them to release, you didn't even receive it, or you received it and you did not release it. Disobedient. I was driving today on my way to come to my daughter's house to bring them back home, and I was listening to a song in the car, a song about grace. It just hit me, and immediately the Lord told me to send it to two places, and so I sent it to the two places. One place was the ministry group that my group of women that I'm in, and then the other was to a friend of mine. And the friend of mine texted me back immediately. She said, not 2 minutes before you sent this, I was on a call that sent me into a spiral, and I was getting ready to just go to the left. And then you sent this song. The timing of this could not be happenstance. Listen, because I was available, because I am not neglecting my gift, because I am open to see and hear the Spirit when it moves me, I was able to follow that direction. And she said, I'm still breathing a little funny. Oh, but this is helping. Thank you so much. Now listen, I would have had no idea. But because I heard the Spirit of God, because I'm not neglecting my gift, right? Because I'm being diligent in the matters that God is calling me for. I'm giving myself wholly over to them, right? So in that moment, I was able to allow the Spirit to speak. Come on here. That is powerful. It is powerful. I know you like to say that in the kingdom. That is powerful. And you are powerful. But you can't allow carrying your pain to cause you to neglect your gift, to cause you to neglect your family, to cause you to neglect your health, to cause you to neglect your calling. Come on here. Come on. Let's talk about it. Psalms 27:10. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but the Lord will take me in. What does that mean, Queen? I'm going to read it again. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but the Lord will take me in. Psalms 27:10. Listen, what does this say to me? Well, to me it says that, listen, the Lord is acknowledging the pain of neglect and abandonment and all of the other pains that we deal with, right? He acknowledges that there's some pain. He knows that you're dealing with some pain. He knows that there's been some neglect. But he is also reassuring you that he will not neglect you. He will not forsake you. He will not leave you. He will not cause you pain. Human neglect can leave wounds that run deep and heal slowly. But the love of your Father, that divine love, that agape love, that unconditional love that is not like no other, that love can heal. It will heal and it will restore if you let it. Listen, father and mother have forsaken me, but the Lord, Daddy, will take me in. So don't allow the neglect that you've suffered from others to cause you not to see the divine love that God has for you, not to feel his love enveloping you, not to feel his love working in your life. Come on here, listen. So often we cut off our own noses to spite our faces. God is saying, I'm right here. It may not seem like it. It may not feel like it. It may not look like it. You waiting on me, but I'm waiting on you. I'm right here. Just take my hand. I was there when it happened. I was there for the journey. I was there for the tears. I've been there through the foolishness. I'm still there. And listen, I promise you that your pain is for a purpose. But if you neglect it, and if you neglect me, I can't move you from pain to purpose. I can't move you from pain to purpose. I can't get you from labor to birth. Come on here. Listen, I know that the wound runs deep. Oh, I have my own wounds of neglect. I have my own people that have neglected me over the years. Listen to me. Mother and father forsake me. Yes, they did. They did. They did. Friends have forsaken me. They have. They have. Husbands have forsaken me. They have. Come on here. Listen, I have been through some things. There has been some neglect that has run deep in my heart, in my soul, in my body. But I'm telling you that the only reason I'm able to sit here and smile at you and say this to you is because I came out of the prison of my pain. And I decided not to neglect the call of my life. I decided not to allow the pain from that neglect to cause me to neglect the place where God was taking me, from pain to purpose. Come on here. From labor to birth. And so I want you to understand that God just reassured you. He said, listen, I know that they forsook you. I know they did, but I didn't. I've been there all along. And while it was necessary, listen, there is a balm. I have what you need. I can take that pain and turn it into something that you don't even recognize. If you but let me. Listen, navigate the neglect in your life. Navigate the places in your life by allowing God to see them fully. Allowing him to put his hand on them fully. Not sitting in them and allowing them to fester. No. That's not what we're going to do. That's not how we're going to get to freedom. See, we're breaking out of betrayal and offense and neglect and all of the rest of the emotions that keep us bound. God says freedom is through me. So yeah, I know it hurts. And I know it wasn't fair. But just give it to him. Listen, at least peek through the bars of the prison of your pain. and see what's on the other side, I promise you, you won't die. I promise you he'll be waiting. I promise you he's going to send you who and what you need. You just have to trust him. Listen, though you slay me, yet will I trust you. I've been crying my eyes out for 2 days, y'all. I've been crying my eyes out for 2 days. I'm dealing with listen, right now, present day neglect in some areas. And I can sit right here with you today and say, it's okay. Listen, I had my friend said, you got 45 seconds for your pity party. And you got to let it go. I probably took more like 5, maybe 10 minutes. Mind your business. But then I had to get up. Why? Because I needed to come talk to y'all about neglect. I needed y'all to know that you can have your moment and you can get up. And God will be right there. Listen, I love you with the love of Christ. I am so proud of you because every week you continue to show up for yourself. Do not neglect yourself. Do not neglect your calling. And do not neglect your relationship with God, because that's what's going to get you through. Listen, today is, what is today? February 27th. That means I will see you again on March 7th for week 4, where we will be dealing with disappointment. Oh, that's another big one. Y'all could probably hear that little baby over there. Listen, don't worry about it. He's just over there talking to the Spider-Man. You gotta let him talk to the Spider-Man. But the week 4, we're gonna be dealing with disappointment. I can't wait to see you there. Listen, click like, click share. If you have not subscribed to the Shaquenia Monique page, not subscribe, but follow. If you have not followed and liked the Shaquenia Monique page, please do so. Because we're kind of transitioning all of this stuff, the business stuff, over to that side. We've been trying to do that for the longest, but we're actively doing it now. And so I'm going to start putting more stuff that way. I don't want you to miss a thing. We have several things coming up in the next few weeks and months. Listen, I love you. If you need me, reach out, send me a direct message in Messenger. If you have my number, text me or reach out to me, because I take calls all day and all night. I am here for you. I understand that journey out of the prison of your pain is a hard one. The territory is arduous. It's rough, but it can be done. I love you, and I will see you real soon. Bye-bye.